Now we are in a position that we can start writing our dynamic countdown. But before I write any code, I want you to take a step back and ask yourself what exactly is going on in the dynamic countdown. Remember, the dynamic countdown is working by telling us again and again how far the birthday is, and the time keeps getting updated. If you really dissect this down, really what we are doing is to repeat 4 steps every 1 second. And what are these 4 steps? Well, first thing first, we update the current time, which means that every 1 second the time is changing. So we update that. We determine how far is the birthday from the updated current time. We print the message and then we wait for 1 second. Now, when do we stop doing this? Well, we stop doing this when the current time becomes more than the next birthday, because that's logical. At that point, your birthday has already come. Now, the point here and the interesting bit here is that though we know that we stop this loop when the current time becomes more than the next birthday, we really do not know how many times these steps are going to be repeated, because somebody's birthday may be, let's say, 10 days away, somebody else's birthday might be 1 year away. So we really, really do not know how many times we are going to repeat this. And when this situation comes, when we want to repeat something, but we do not know how long we are going to repeat, or let's say how many times we are going to repeat, we can use what is called the while loop. Now, while loop is a very powerful, very highly useful, a construct in Python. We use it to create repetition when we do not know upfront how many times a certain loop will have to run. So what we are going to say, while a certain condition holds, keep repeating this. When this condition becomes false, exit from the loop. So it's going to repeat till that condition is valid, is true. Now, before I move on, again, a bit of compare and contrast helps. A block that is extremely close to this from scratch is this block called the repeat until. Remember, the repeat until block would keep doing these statements in here till this condition became true. Now what's happening is that we will keep doing these statements till this condition becomes false. So a little bit of difference, but you can still see the similarity. Now I hope this kind of sets up the that's the background for the situation. Let's go to our code, and now we want to write this loop, the while loop. I'm going to focus on the placement of the loop, the syntax of the loop, as well as some care that you must take. First thing first, remember the whole idea is that I'm going to find out how far my current, how far my birthday is from the current time, which means that all this has to be inside the while loop. And that's why I go and put, let's say, after my print statements, I go and say while, I say next b day is greater than current time. Now remember, while loop will keep working, keep repeating these statements in here while this condition is correct, which means that till the time that current time is less than the next birthday, this will keep happening, after which the loop will exit. Now, as part of syntax, I must give this colon. That's part of the syntax. More importantly, or well, equally importantly, let's say, I must give an indentation here, because just like the if-else condition, the while loop is also going to figure out whatever is inside depending on the indentation. So I want all of this to happen. Now remember, first I found out how far is this, then I translated, I translated this to a human readable form, seconds left, minutes, and so on. Thereafter, I can ignore the comments. Thereafter, I printed this. Now I want all of this to be part of the while loop. That's why I have made all of them indented. In fact, the moment I stop indenting, the interpreter will think that that is no longer a part of the while loop. Now, with this done, what's happening here is that I'm saying, okay, look, while my next birthday is more than current time, do all these statements, basically line number 42 till say line number 57, and keep doing this again and again till, while this condition holds. So till this condition becomes false, keep doing this. However, there are two issues with this. First thing first, remember, if I just wrote my loop like this, it's going to get overwhelmed because I've left too many print statements. And also recall that we had said that we will do it every 1 second. And how do we do that? Well, previously we have imported this module called time. So I'll just take you up there. On the top here, I've written import time. Now there's a function in the time module which allows me to make my code wait, which is basically just to say time.sleep 1. Now time.sleep1 is exactly same as wait 1 second, and hence this code will now wait for 1 second. In fact, there is a very, very serious problem right now with the loop, the way it stands. If you want, you can pause your video here right now and think about what it is, and validate your answer. I will run this code and show you what is going on to illustrate to you what is the problem. So if I run this loop here, notice that my, it's asked me which year I was born. So I say 1977, say 1, say 31. Now this guy is printing all right. First of all, it's printing an extra line. That's because of this. But notice most importantly that it is printing the same time again and again. Now, what that means is that this loop is in fact an infinite loop. It's not going to end because this condition is not going to come true, become a false ever, because my current time is basically not moving, and which is why, as you see, I'm printing the same time again and again. Now, this is not a surprise because remember, when we first discussed the steps that we, that we have to repeat, I also mentioned that we must keep updating our current time. In fact, that's important because only then would we have a loop which is going to ever end. Otherwise, it's an infinite loop. So what I will do is that I'm going to just keep updating the current time object, which is basically this. So I'm going to copy this and paste. So I'm going to copy this and paste it inside my loop. Now notice whatever is inside has to be indented. So if I do this now, and I'm also going to remove this extra print so that it doesn't serve any purpose right now. So I do this. Now when I run this, here it says which year were you born? So I said, let's say it's 1988. It's okay. So I said 31. Now notice my countdown is starting to work because I'm getting a time which is reducing. And why is it reducing? Because every 1 second my current time is getting updated, and everything else is just following from there. You can see clearly how this thing is now starting to tick like a timer, tick like a countdown. Before I leave this session, I just want to make an interesting statement to you. Let's say by mistake I unindented this line, and also I unindented. So now the moment I do this, notice this guy is giving me an error because that indentation is no longer understood. Because I've already broken the indentation. Let's say I did this. Now what will happen here is that my while loop will no longer have the print statement done because notice I've broken the indentation, and hence the interpreter thinks that the loop is getting over right here. I should not be doing this. In fact, I must give an indentation here, and likewise I must give an indentation here so that the entire time.sleep also becomes a part of while loop, and only then will I get the 1 second wait effect happening. And you can see it working once again. Let's just see that. So if I do this in 1977, so one say, just say for the sake of 21, now notice it says 51 days 7 hours 54 minutes 49 seconds and so on and so forth, which we already know has been validated, and every second it updates. I hope you found this useful. While loop is very, very powerful. Make sure you understand it, make sure you practice it. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.